Victoria Stone's hand crashed across 5-year-old Lily's face. The child's head snapped sideways. Her small body crumpled to the floor, watercolors splashing everywhere. "You disgusting little brat!" Victoria screamed. "Do you have any idea how much this dress costs, more than your worthless nanny makes in a year?" Lily didn't cry. She had learned not to cry. She just curled into herself, making her tiny body as small as possible. But this time someone was watching, someone who would change everything. Before we continue this incredible story, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and follow this journey to the very end. Drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels across the world. Now let me tell you what happened next. Hope Carter heard the scream and dropped everything. She had been folding laundry in the small room next to the playroom. 47 days she had worked in this mansion. 47 days of watching, waiting, knowing something was wrong, but never catching proof. Until now. She ran. What she found made her blood freeze. Lily was on the floor, paint everywhere, her cheek already swelling. Victoria Stone stood over her designer heel, inches from the child's face, rage twisting her perfect features into something monstrous. "I told you to stay in your room," Victoria was shouting. "I told you not to touch anything, but you just can't listen, can you? You're just like your mother, useless, pathetic, a burden on everyone around you." Lily whimpered. Blood trickled from her split lip. Hope didn't think. She moved. "Get away from her." Victoria spun around. Her eyes widened for just a fraction of a second. Then the mask slid back into place. "Excuse me? I said get away from her now." Victoria laughed. Cold, hollow. "Do you know who you're talking to? I am going to be Mrs. Julian Mercer. I am going to be this child's mother. And you're the help. So I suggest you remember your place before I have you thrown out on the street." Hope stepped closer. "My place is protecting this child. And if you touch her again, I swear to God I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of woman you really are." Victoria's smile vanished. Her eyes turned to ice. "You stupid woman. You have no idea what you've just done." "I know exactly what I've done. I've seen who you really are." Victoria moved fast. She grabbed Hope's arm nails, digging in deep. "Listen to me very carefully," Victoria hissed. "No one will believe you. Not Julian, not the police, not anyone. You're a nobody, a black maid in a white man's mansion. Who do you think they'll believe? Me with my charity galas and magazine covers? Or you with your little uniform and your pathetic paycheck?" Hope yanked her arm free. "The truth doesn't care about magazine covers. The truth is whatever I say it is." Victoria reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. She pressed a button. "Julian, darling, you need to come home right now. Something terrible has happened. The nanny attacked Lily. I tried to stop her, but she pushed me. Please hurry. I'm so scared." Hope's stomach dropped. "What are you doing?" Victoria ended the call and smiled. "Winning." Hope rushed to Lily, dropping to her knees. "Sweetheart, come here. Let me see your face." Lily looked up with those big brown eyes. So much fear, so much pain. "I'm sorry," Lily whispered. "I didn't mean to make a mess. I was making a card for Daddy, for his birthday. I wanted to surprise him." Hope's heart shattered. "Oh, baby girl, you didn't do anything wrong. Nothing at all. Do you hear me?" "Victoria says I always do things wrong. She says that's why Mommy went to heaven, because I was too much trouble, because I made Mommy tired." Hope pulled her close. "That's a lie, Lily. A terrible, evil lie. Your mommy loved you more than anything. She got sick, that's all. It had nothing to do with you." Lily's small body trembled. "Promise. I promise. I promise with my whole heart." Footsteps echoed from the hallway. Fast, heavy, angry. Victoria's voice rang out, already sobbing. "Julian, thank God you're here. Oh God, it was horrible." Hope stood up, still holding Lily's hand. She turned to face whatever was coming. Julian Mercer appeared in the doorway. 6'2", expensive suit, gray eyes that once might have been warm but now looked like stone. Victoria ran to him, throwing herself into his arms. She attacked her. Julian, I walked in and she was shaking Lily, screaming at her. I tried to pull her away, but she pushed me. Look at my arm! She held up her forearm, completely unblemished, not a single mark. Mr. Mercer, Hope said, fighting to keep her voice steady. That's not what happened. I never touched your daughter. Not like that. Victoria is the one who... She's lying, Victoria shrieked. She's trying to turn this around. I saw everything, Julian. Everything. This woman is dangerous. She's been acting strange for weeks. I tried to warn you. I told you something wasn't right about her. Julian's eyes moved slowly across the scene. His fiancée crying, his daughter clutching the maid's hand. Paint and chaos everywhere. What happened to Lily's face? His voice was tight, controlled. She hit her, Victoria sobbed. The nanny hit your daughter. I tried to stop it. I tried, but she was so fast and I couldn't. Mr. Mercer. Hope stepped forward. Please, just ask Lily. Ask her what really happened. Children don't lie, not about things like this. Julian looked at his daughter. Lily, sweetheart, can you tell Daddy what happened? Lily's eyes darted to Victoria. Victoria smiled at her, a smile that looked loving to Julian, a smile that promised pain to Lily. Lily's mouth opened, then closed. She looked at the floor. I fell, she whispered. I fell and hit my face. Hope's heart sank. Lily, sweetheart, tell him the truth. Tell him what really happened. I'll protect you. I promise. See? Victoria pointed at Hope. See how she manipulates her. She's been coaching this child for weeks, turning her against me. I tried to tell you, Julian. I tried to be patient, but this woman is poison. Julian's face hardened. He stepped toward Hope. Let go of my daughter. Mr. Mercer, please, if you would just listen. I said let go. He reached out and pulled Lily away. The child went limply, without protest, without sound, like a doll. You're fired, Julian said. Pack your things and get out of my house. You have 15 minutes. Mr. Mercer, 15 minutes. If you're still here after that, I'm calling the police. And trust me, you do not want me to call the police. Hope looked at Lily. The child wouldn't meet her eyes. She just stared at the floor, completely still, completely silent. Victoria smirked behind Julian's back. Hope wanted to scream. She wanted to grab Julian by the shoulders and shake him until he saw what was right in front of him. But she knew it wouldn't matter. Men like him believed what they wanted to believe, and right now he wanted to believe in the beautiful woman on his arm. I'm sorry, Lily, Hope said softly. I'm so sorry. She turned and walked away. Behind her, she heard Victoria's voice, sweet as poison. It's okay, baby girl. The bad lady is gone now. She can't hurt you anymore. Victoria's going to take such good care of you. Hope kept walking. Every step felt like leaving a piece of her soul behind. In her small room in the servants' quarters, Hope packed her single duffel bag. Her hands shook, not from fear, from rage, from the crushing weight of helplessness. A soft knock made her turn. Dorothy Williams stepped inside, 62 years old. Head housekeeper, 30 years with the Mercer family, eyes that had seen everything and forgotten nothing. I know the truth, Dot said quietly. I saw part of it from the hallway. I know you didn't do what she said. Hope's chest tightened. Then tell him. Tell Mr. Mercer. Dot's face crumpled. He won't believe me. Victoria has spent months making sure of that. Every time I try to say something, she twists it, makes me look jealous, makes me look like I'm trying to cause trouble. Julian trusts her completely. She's all he can see. So what we just let her keep hurting that child? I didn't say that. Dot reached into her apron and pulled out a slip of paper. This is my personal number. I'll watch over Lily as much as I can. I'll call you if anything happens. If I see anything, I'll document it. Hope took the paper. That's not enough. She's going to destroy that little girl. I know, Dot's voice broke. But you can't help Lily from a jail cell. And that's exactly where you'll end up if you try to fight Victoria head-on. She has lawyers, she has connections, she has Julian wrapped around her finger so tight he can't breathe without her permission. There has to be something we can do. Dot hesitated. Then she leaned closer, lowering her voice. You're not the first nanny Victoria has gotten rid of. There were 2 before you. The first one caught Victoria slapping Lily. She was fired the next day. The second one found bruises on Lily's arms. Victoria said the child fell down the stairs. She was gone within a week. Hope felt sick. 2 other nannies saw this, and both of them disappeared. One moved out of state. The other stopped returning calls. I don't know what Victoria did to them, but they're gone. Silenced. Why didn't you tell anyone? Who would listen? I'm just the housekeeper. Victoria is the future Mrs. Mercer. She sits on charity boards. She has lunch with the mayor's wife. She's untouchable. Hope grabbed Dot's hands. She's not untouchable. Nobody is. I'm going to find a way to stop her. I don't know how yet, but I will. Dot's eyes filled with tears. I believe you. I just hope it's not too late. Hope picked up her bag and walked out, down the long hallway, through the grand foyer, past the marble and crystal that felt more like a prison than a home. At the front door, she paused. She looked back one last time. At the top of the stairs stood a small figure. Lily, clutching the railing with both hands, watching her leave with those big broken eyes. Hope raised her hand in a small wave. Lily's lip trembled. She started to raise her hand too. Victoria appeared behind her, placed a hand on the child's shoulder, squeezed. Lily's hand dropped. Her face went blank. Wave goodbye to the nice lady Lily, Victoria said, her voice carrying down the stairs. She's going away now, forever. You'll never see her again. Hope turned and walked out into the rain. She had no umbrella, no car, $47 in her pocket, and a heart full of fire. She walked for 2 hours before she found a bus stop with a small shelter. She sat down soaking wet and pulled out her phone. A text from an unknown number. It was Dot. She's already started. Victoria told Julian you've been sneaking into Lily's room at night, scaring her, whispering things. He's talking about a restraining order. Hope's hands trembled as she typed back. What about Lily? Is she okay? The response came after a long pause. She's locked in her room. Victoria says she needs quiet time to process the trauma. She hasn't eaten since you left. She won't talk to anyone. Hope closed her eyes. Behind her lids, she saw her daughter's face. Faith, her baby girl who had died of leukemia 3 years ago. She remembered the hospital room, the machines beeping, Faith's small hand in hers growing colder by the minute. I'll always protect you, baby, Hope had promised. Mommy will always be here. But she hadn't been able to protect Faith. She hadn't been able to save her. She would not fail another child. Hope opened her eyes and typed back. Keep watching. Document everything you can. Dates, times, what you see and hear. I'm going to find a way to stop this. Dot's response was simple. God help us all. 3 days later, Hope sat in a cramped office at the Mercy House Women's Shelter in downtown Atlanta. Across from her sat Ruth Jameson, a pastor's wife with silver hair and kind eyes that had seen decades of suffering. So, you witnessed the abuse directly, Ruth said, but you have no documentation. No, it happened so fast, I just reacted. That's what good people do. They react. Ruth set down her pen. But reaction isn't enough to bring down someone like Victoria Stone. She has money, lawyers, connections. She can bury the truth so deep it'll never see daylight. I can't let her keep hurting that child. I'm not saying you should, I'm saying you need to be smart. Build a case, gather evidence, document every single thing. The more you have, the harder it is for them to dismiss you. Hope leaned forward. That takes time. Time Lily doesn't have. I know, but if you move too fast, you'll end up in jail. Victoria is already spreading rumors about you. I made some calls this morning. Your name is being whispered as unstable, obsessive, dangerous. If you show up at that house, if you try to contact the child directly, they'll have you arrested. Then who helps Lily? Hope's fists clenched. So I'm supposed to just wait while she hurts her every day. Ruth reached across and placed a hand over Hope's fist. I know how hard this is. I've sat with women in your position before. Women who saw children being hurt and couldn't stop it. The helplessness is agonizing. But you have to trust that the truth will come out. I've trusted my whole life, Hope said, her voice cracking. I trusted when my daughter got sick. I trusted when she died. I trusted when my husband walked out because he couldn't handle the grief. I keep trusting and I keep losing. And yet you're still here, still fighting. That's the strongest kind of faith there is. Hope wiped her eyes. What do I do now? I have no money, no place to stay, no way to get close to Lily. You stay here at Mercy House. We have a bed, and I have a friend who runs a cleaning service. The pay isn't much, but it's honest work. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This road is going to get harder before it gets easier. Are you ready for that? Hope thought of Lily's face, those trembling lips, those empty eyes. I'm ready for anything. That night, Hope lay in her narrow bed at the shelter, staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. Dot. Victoria took Lily to a doctor today, told him the bruises came from the nanny. The doctor believed her. It's all on record now, official. Hope's stomach turned. Victoria was building a case against her, covering her tracks, making sure that even if the truth came out, no one would believe it. She typed back, "Is there anyone else who sees what's happening? Anyone who might speak up?" The reply took several minutes. Mrs. Margaret, Julian's grandmother. She's 80 years old and in a wheelchair. Victoria ignores her most of the time, but I've seen the way she watches. She sees things. She just can't do anything about it. Hope sat up in bed. Can you get me in touch with her? Too dangerous. Victoria monitors everything. If she finds out we're in contact, we're both finished. Then I need to find another way. A week passed, then 2. Hope worked double shifts with the cleaning service. She saved every penny. She spoke to Dot on burner phones, always careful, always watching. The news got worse every day. Lily had stopped speaking almost entirely. She wouldn't eat unless forced. She wet the bed every night. She screamed in her sleep, calling for her mother, calling for Hope, calling for anyone who might save her. Victoria told Julian it was trauma from the abusive nanny. She recommended a boarding school in Switzerland, somewhere Lily could heal far away from bad memories. Julian was considering it. He can't send her away, Hope said to Ruth one evening. If she goes to Switzerland, I'll never be able to help her. The evidence will disappear. Victoria will win. What do you want to do? I want to talk to Julian, face to face, make him listen. Ruth shook her head. You'll be arrested before you get within 100 feet of that property. Then what? What am I supposed to do? Just give up? Ruth was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Write him a letter. A letter. Sometimes words on paper reach places that spoken words can't. Men like Julian are always running, always busy. They don't have time to listen, but a letter they might read. They might think about it. And say what he already thinks I'm crazy. Tell him the truth, not accusations, not demands, just the truth. What you saw, what you felt, what you know. Ruth paused. And ask him one question. What question? Ask him to look at his daughter. Really look. Not through Victoria's eyes, not through his grief, but really see the child in front of him. Ask him if she looks like a child who feels safe. That night, Hope sat at the small desk in her room and began to write. She wrote about the first time she met Lily, how the child had hidden behind Dot's legs, too shy to say hello, how it had taken 2 weeks before Lily smiled at her, how that smile had lit up the whole room. She wrote about the darkness she saw creeping into Lily's eyes whenever Victoria entered. The flinching, the silence, the way a 5-year-old child had learned to make herself invisible. She wrote about the day she was fired, what really happened, the words Victoria said that no one else heard. And at the end she asked the question, Mr. Mercer, I know you have no reason to believe me. I'm just a woman you paid to care for your daughter. My word means nothing against Victoria's, but I'm asking you as one human being to another to look at your child. Really look. Does she seem happy? Does she seem safe? Does she seem like the same little girl she was before? Because I watch that child disappear a little more each day. And I'm afraid that if no one sees it, if no one helps her, she'll disappear entirely. Please, before it's too late." She sealed the letter and gave it to Dot 3 days later. Dot's hands shook as she took it. "This is dangerous. If Victoria finds out—" "I know, but I have to try. I'll make sure it gets to him. Somehow." The letter sat on Julian's desk for 3 days. He had almost thrown it away twice. The handwriting was unfamiliar. The return address meant nothing to him. But something made him keep it. Some instinct he couldn't name. On the third night alone in his study with a glass of whiskey, he finally opened it. He read it once, then again, then a third time. His hands began to shake. He thought about Lily, his little girl who used to run to greet him at the door, who used to climb into his lap and tell him about her day, who used to laugh so loud the whole house could hear it. She didn't do any of that anymore. Victoria said it was because of what the nanny had done. Victoria said Lily needed time to heal. Victoria said everything was under control. But what if Victoria was wrong? What if Victoria was lying? Julian set down the letter. He stood up. He walked out of his study and climbed the stairs. Lily's door was closed. It was always closed now. Victoria said she needed privacy to process her feelings. He knocked softly. "Lily, sweetheart, it's Daddy." No answer. He opened the door. The room was dark. Lily was curled on her bed facing the wall. "Lily." She didn't move. He walked over and sat on the edge of her bed. He reached out and touched her shoulder. She flinched. His daughter flinched at his touch. Julian felt something cold grip his chest. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" Slowly, Lily turned over. Her eyes were open but empty, hollow, like looking at a photograph instead of a living child. "Nothing, Daddy. I'm fine." "You don't seem fine. You seem sad, very sad." "I'm not sad. Victoria says I'm not allowed to be sad. Sad people make everyone uncomfortable. Sad people get sent away." Julian's blood went cold. "Victoria said that... She said that to you." Lily's eyes widened. She had made a mistake. She wasn't supposed to say that. "I'm tired, Daddy. Can I go to sleep now?" Julian looked at his daughter. For the first time in months, he really looked. He saw the hollow cheeks, the dark circles under her eyes, the way she held her body rigid, tense, ready to run or hide at any moment. He saw a child who was terrified. Not of the nanny who had been fired, not of bad dreams or childhood fears, of something much closer, something living in the same house. "Lily," he said softly, "tell me the truth. What happened the day Miss Hope left? What really happened?" Lily's lip trembled. Tears welled in her eyes. "I can't, Daddy." "Why not?" "Because she'll know. She always knows. She said if I tell anyone, she'll send me away. To a school far away where I'll never see you or Grandma Margaret again. She said no one would believe me anyway because I'm just a stupid little girl who makes messes and causes trouble." Julian's heart stopped. "Who said that, Lily? Who told you that?" The child looked at him with those big brown eyes filled with a fear no 5-year-old should ever know. Victoria. The name hung in the air. Julian felt the ground shift beneath him. Everything he thought he knew, everything he believed crumbled in that single moment. He had trusted the wrong person. He had destroyed an innocent woman's life, and he had left his daughter in the hands of a monster. "Daddy." Lily's small voice broke through his shock. "Are you mad at me?" Julian pulled her into his arms and held her tight. "No, baby, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all." He held her while she sobbed, while months of fear and pain poured out of her small body, while she told him everything. The slaps, the pinches, the cruel words whispered when no one else could hear, the dark closet where Victoria locked her for hours at a time. When she finally fell asleep in his arms, Julian carried her to his bedroom and tucked her into his own bed. He sat beside her all night watching her sleep, his mind racing. He had made the worst mistake of his life, and now he had to fix it. At dawn, Julian picked up his phone and made a call. "Jonathan, I need you at the house, now. Bring everything you have on Victoria Stone, every background check, every reference, everything." He hung up and walked to the window. Somewhere out there was a woman he had wronged, a woman who had tried to protect his daughter when he was too blind to see the truth. He was going to find her, and he was going to make this right, no matter what it cost him. Jonathan Price arrived at the Mercer mansion 40 minutes after Julian's call. He found his client standing in the study, still wearing yesterday's clothes, dark circles under his eyes. "You look like hell," Jonathan said, setting his briefcase on the desk. "I feel worse. What did you find on Victoria?" Jonathan hesitated. "Julian, before we get into this, I need to ask, are you sure? Because once I show you what's in this file, there's no going back." "Show me." Jonathan opened his briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. "Victoria Stone isn't her real name. She was born Victoria Blackwell in Tampa, Florida. Changed her name legally 8 years ago after a civil suit was filed against her." Julian's jaw tightened. "What kind of suit?" "Child endangerment. She was engaged to a wealthy widower in Miami. He had 2 kids from his first marriage. After 6 months, the grandmother noticed bruises on the younger child. She hired a private investigator. The evidence was damning, but Victoria settled out of court. The terms included a name change and relocation. The records were sealed." Julian felt sick. "She's done this before." "It gets worse. 3 years ago, she was involved with a tech CEO in San Francisco, also a widower, also had a young daughter. The engagement ended abruptly. No official explanation. But my contacts say the CEO found hidden camera footage of Victoria hitting his child. He paid her $2 million to disappear quietly. Why didn't any of this come up when I had her background checked?" Jonathan shifted uncomfortably. "I ran the check myself, Julian. Everything came back clean. She's good at covering her tracks, very good. The name change, the sealed records, the NDAs. She's built a system." Julian slammed his fist on the desk. "I let her into my home. I let her near my daughter. I fired the one person who tried to protect Lily, and I believed every word that came out of that woman's mouth. You're not the first man she's fooled. You won't be the last. Where is she now?" "Still in the guest wing. She came in around 2 in the morning, probably thought you were asleep." Julian's eyes hardened. "I want her out of my house. Today." "That's going to be complicated. She has legal representation. She's already been talking to her lawyer about your assets, your companies. If you push her out without cause, she could claim, I don't care what she claims. Get her out." Jonathan nodded slowly. "I'll draw up the papers. But Julian, there's something else you should know." "What?" "The nanny you fired, Hope Carter. Victoria has been spreading rumors about her for weeks. She's filed complaints with 3 different agencies. She's trying to get Hope blacklisted from every childcare position in the state." Julian closed his eyes. "Can you find her, Hope?" "I already have people looking. Last known address was a women's shelter downtown. But she's been moving around. Hard to pin down. Find her, Jonathan, whatever it takes. I owe her more than an apology." 2 floors above them, Victoria Stone was wide awake. She had heard Julian's car in the driveway before dawn. She had watched from her window as Jonathan Price walked through the front door. She knew what those 2 things meant together. Something had gone wrong. She picked up her phone and dialed her lawyer. "Marcus, we have a problem. Julian is meeting with his attorney right now. I think he knows something." "Knows what exactly?" "I don't know yet, but I need you to be ready. If he tries to throw me out, I want papers filed within the hour. Breach of promise, emotional distress, whatever sticks." "Victoria, if this goes to court, your history might come up. The sealed records, the settlements. A good lawyer could. Then make sure it doesn't go to court. I want leverage. Real leverage. Something that makes him back down." "What kind of leverage?" Victoria smiled coldly. "He has a daughter he clearly loves very much. And right now, I'm the only mother figure that child has known for the past year. Family courts love stability. They love continuity. If I position myself correctly, I could make custody very complicated for him." "You're talking about claiming parental rights to a child that isn't yours." "I'm talking about survival, Marcus. Julian Mercer is worth $3 billion. I didn't spend 18 months of my life playing stepmother to walk away with nothing. I'll see what I can do. Victoria ended the call and walked to her closet. She selected a soft pink dress, something that made her look innocent, vulnerable. Then she applied her makeup carefully, making sure her eyes looked slightly red, as if she had been crying. It was time for her best performance yet. She found Julian in the dining room 20 minutes later. He was sitting alone, staring at his coffee, his face unreadable. "Darling," Victoria said softly, sliding into the chair across from him. "You were up so early. Is everything all right?" Julian didn't look at her. "Where were you last night?" "I told you. I had dinner with the charity committee. It ran late." "The charity committee meets on Thursdays. Yesterday was Tuesday." Victoria's smile flickered for just a second. "I must have confused the days. Things have been so hectic lately." "Have they?" She reached across the table and touched his hand. "Julian, what's wrong? You're scaring me." He finally looked at her. His eyes were different, colder, like he was seeing her for the first time. "I talked to Lily last night." Victoria's heart skipped, but her face remained perfectly composed. "How is she? Poor thing has been so withdrawn since that terrible business with the nanny. She told me some interesting things. Children have such vivid imaginations. You know how Lily likes to make up stories. She told me you hit her, Victoria." The words hung in the air like a blade. Victoria's expression shifted through several emotions in rapid succession: shock, hurt, righteous indignation. "How can you say that to me? After everything I've done for that child, I have loved her like my own daughter. I have given up my career, my social life, everything to be a mother to her. She told me you lock her in the closet." "That's absurd. That's completely absurd. Julian, she's 5 years old. She's confused. That nanny filled her head with lies before she left. This is exactly what I warned you about." Julian stood up slowly. "I want you out of my house by noon." Victoria's mask cracked. "Excuse me. You heard me. Pack your things. Leave your keys. I'll have someone escort you." "You can't do this. We're engaged. We have plans. The wedding is in 3 months." "There is no wedding. There never will be." Victoria stood up too, her voice rising. "You're making a huge mistake, Julian. You're choosing to believe a confused child and a disgruntled employee over me, over the woman who has stood by you through everything." "The woman who stood by me was lying from the beginning. Your real name is Victoria Blackwell. You've done this before. Miami, San Francisco. How many children have you hurt, Victoria? How many families have you destroyed?" For the first time, genuine fear flashed across Victoria's face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "I have the files. I have the records, the sealed lawsuit in Florida, the settlement in California. You're a predator, Victoria, and you picked the wrong family this time." Victoria's eyes narrowed. The mask fell away completely, revealing something cold and calculating beneath. "You think you can just throw me out after everything I know about you, about your business, about the corners you've cut, the deals you've made. Is that a threat? It's a reminder. I have 18 months of pillow talk stored in my memory. Julian, board meetings, merger discussions, things that could be very interesting to your competitors, to the press, to the SEC." Julian stepped closer. "Try it. See what happens. You'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not seeing you for what you are sooner. Now get out of my house." Victoria grabbed her purse from the table. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "This isn't over, Julian, not by a long shot. And that little brat of yours, she's going to learn that some lies have consequences." She walked out, her heels clicking against the marble floor like gunshots. Julian watched her go, his fists clenched at his sides. Then he pulled out his phone and dialed. "Jonathan, I want security on Lily 24 hours a day and double the detail on the house. Victoria just made a threat and I believe she means it." 3 hours later, Victoria Stone sat in her lawyer's office, her pink dress now wrinkled, her makeup smeared from angry tears. "He can't do this," she said for the 10th time. "He can't just throw me out like garbage." Marcus leaned back in his chair. Technically, he can. The house is in his name. You're not married. You have no legal claim to the property. Then get me a claim. I lived there for a year. I was his fiancée. I helped raise his daughter. There has to be something. Victoria, I'm going to be honest with you. If Julian has the files you mentioned, if he knows about Miami and San Francisco, this could get ugly. Criminal charges ugly. He won't go public. It would embarrass him. He's too proud. Are you willing to bet your freedom on that? Victoria's jaw tightened. I'm not going to prison. Not for disciplining a spoiled child who needed boundaries. Then you need to disappear. Take whatever money you have and go somewhere without an extradition treaty. Start over. I'm not running. Not from Julian Mercer. Not from anyone. Marcus sighed. Then what do you want to do? Victoria's eyes glittered with something dangerous. I want to hurt him. The way he's hurt me. And I know exactly how to do it. How? His mother died. His father abandoned him. His wife is gone. The only thing Julian Mercer truly loves in this world is that little girl. Take her away, and you take away everything. Victoria, if you're suggesting what I think you're suggesting, I'm not suggesting anything, I'm just thinking out loud. She stood up and smoothed her dress. But it's interesting, isn't it? How vulnerable children are. How easy it is for things to go wrong. Accidents happen every day. Marcus went pale. I can't be part of this. You're not part of anything. You're just my lawyer, and this conversation never happened. She walked out, leaving Marcus staring after her with dread pooling in his stomach. Across town, Hope Carter was cleaning offices on the 32nd floor of a downtown high-rise. It was midnight. The building was empty, except for security guards and a handful of cleaning staff. Hope pushed her cart down the silent hallway, her mind far away from mops and trash cans. Dot had called that morning with news. Julian had thrown Victoria out. He was looking for Hope. He wanted to apologize. Hope didn't know how to feel about that. Part of her wanted to believe him, wanted to believe that he had finally seen the truth. But another part, the part that had been accused and humiliated and thrown out like garbage, wasn't ready to forgive. Her phone buzzed. Dot again. Hope, are you sitting down? I'm at work. What's wrong? Victoria was escorted off the property this morning. But before she left, she made threats. Against Julian, against Lily. He's got security everywhere, but I'm scared. I've never seen that woman's eyes look like that before. Cold, empty, like something inside her finally broke. Hope's stomach clenched. Is Lily okay? For now. Julian hasn't left her side all day, but Victoria is still out there, and people like her don't just give up. What do you think she'll do? I don't know. That's what scares me. Hope finished her shift at 4 a.m. and took the bus back to the shelter. She couldn't sleep. She sat on her narrow bed staring at the wall, thinking about Lily. That little girl had crawled into her heart without permission, had filled the hole that Faith's death had left behind. And now Lily was in danger, and Hope was powerless to protect her. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. Hello? Miss Carter, this is Julian Mercer. Hope's breath caught. She didn't respond. I know you have no reason to talk to me, Julian continued. I know I don't deserve a minute of your time, but I need to see you. Please. It's about Lily. Is she hurt? Not physically, but she's asking for you. She has nightmares every night. She calls your name. Miss Carter, I made a terrible mistake. I believed the wrong person, and I let you take the blame for something you didn't do. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to help my daughter. Hope closed her eyes. She thought about hanging up. She thought about telling him exactly what he could do with his apology. But then she thought about Lily, about those big brown eyes, about that small voice saying, Victoria says, I always do things wrong. Where do you want to meet? There's a coffee shop on Peachtree Street, neutral ground. Tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock. I'll come alone. Fine. But Mr. Mercer, if this is some kind of trick, if Victoria is behind this, Victoria is gone. I threw her out this morning. She's never coming near my daughter again. Hope wanted to believe him, but trust once broken doesn't rebuild easily. I'll be there, she said, but I'm not making any promises. That's all I ask. The coffee shop was nearly empty when Hope arrived the next morning. She chose a table in the back corner, her eyes on the door. Julian walked in at exactly 10 o'clock. He looked different than she remembered. Older, tired, broken in a way that expensive suits couldn't hide. He spotted her and walked over. For a moment, he just stood there looking at her with something like shame in his eyes. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly. "I almost didn't." He nodded. "I wouldn't have blamed you." He sat down across from her. Neither of them spoke for a long moment. "I read your letter," Julian finally said. "A dozen times, every word, and then I looked at my daughter, really looked at her for the first time in months, and I saw exactly what you described. A child who was disappearing." Hope said nothing. "She told me everything. The hitting, the cruel words, the closet, all of it." His voice cracked. "She told me she thought it was her fault, that her mother died because she was too much trouble. Victoria told her that. She told a 5-year-old that her mother's death was her fault." "I know. Lily told me the same thing." Julian's hands clenched on the table. "I should have believed you. From the first moment, I should have seen the truth. But I was so desperate to believe that someone could fill the hole my wife left. I was so desperate for Lily to have a mother again. I let that desperation blind me." "Your desperation almost destroyed your daughter." "I know, and I have to live with that for the rest of my life." Hope studied his face. She saw the guilt there, the shame, the genuine remorse, but she also remembered being accused, being thrown out, being told she had 15 minutes to pack her life into a single bag. "Why did you want to see me, Mr. Mercer?" "Because Lily needs you. She wakes up screaming every night. She won't eat, she won't play, she won't smile. The only person she asks for over and over is you." Hope's heart twisted. "I'm not sure I can come back to that house. I'm not asking you to be an employee. I'm asking you to be part of her healing. Whatever role that looks like, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll pay whatever you want. Name your terms. This isn't about money. I know. But I don't know what else to offer. I don't know how to fix what I broke." Hope looked at him for a long moment. She thought about faith, about the promise she had made, about the fire that had kept her going through all those weeks of helplessness. "There's something you should know," she said. "Before I answer. I had a daughter. Her name was Faith. She died 3 years ago. Leukemia. She was 7 years old." Julian's face softened with genuine sympathy. "I'm so sorry. When I took the job at your house, I wasn't just looking for work. I was looking for purpose. I thought if I couldn't save my own daughter, maybe I could help someone else's. When I saw what Victoria was doing to Lily, I couldn't walk away. I couldn't pretend I didn't see it, even when it cost me everything. You protected my daughter when her own father failed her. I don't know how to repay that." "You don't repay it? You just do better. You be the father she needs. You make sure nothing like this ever happens again." Julian nodded slowly. "Will you come see her? Even just once. Let her know you're okay. Let her know she wasn't abandoned." Hope thought about it. She thought about the risk, about Victoria still out there, about all the ways this could go wrong. But then she thought about Lily's face, those big brown eyes, that trembling lip. "One visit," Hope said. "That's all I can promise right now." "Thank you. Thank you so much." Julian's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went pale. "What is it?" Hope asked. "It's Dot. There's been a breach at the house. Someone got past the security cameras. They found a window open in Lily's room." Hope's blood went cold. "Lily, where's Lily?" Julian was already on his feet, dialing frantically. "Dot, where is she? Where's my daughter?" Hope couldn't hear the response, but she saw Julian's face crumble, saw the color drain from his skin, saw the phone nearly slip from his trembling hand. "What happened?" Hope demanded. "Julian, what happened?" He looked at her with eyes full of terror. "Lily is gone. Someone took her." Julian's hands shook so violently he nearly dropped his phone. Hope grabbed his arm to steady him. "Call the police," she said. "Right now." "I can't. Not yet." His voice was barely a whisper. "Dot said there was a note on Lily's pillow. Victoria left a note." "What does it say?" Julian's face twisted with anguish. Call the police and you'll never see her again. Come alone to the address below. Bring $10 million in cash. You have 6 hours. Hope felt the floor tilt beneath her feet. 6 hours. Victoria had Lily, and they had 6 hours. Julian, listen to me. You can't go alone. That's exactly what she wants. I don't have a choice. She has my daughter. If you go alone, she'll kill you both. Victoria isn't doing this for money. She's doing this for revenge. The money is just an excuse. Julian looked at her with desperate eyes. Then what do I do? Tell me what to do. Hope's mind raced. 3 years of grief. Weeks of watching, waiting, praying for a chance to save Lily. Now that chance was here, and it felt like standing at the edge of a cliff. Where's the address? Julian showed her the screen. An abandoned warehouse district on the outskirts of Atlanta. The kind of place where people disappeared. I know that area, Hope said quietly. When I worked at Grady Memorial, we used to get patients from that neighborhood. Drug overdoses, stabbings. It's dangerous, Julian. Really dangerous. I don't care how dangerous it is. My daughter is there. Hope made a decision, the kind of decision that changes everything. Then I'm coming with you. No, absolutely not. If Victoria sees you. Victoria doesn't know I'm involved. She thinks I'm still hiding in some shelter licking my wounds. I'm the one person she won't expect. Julian stared at her. Why would you do this, after everything I did to you? Because I made a promise. Not to you, to Lily. I told her I would protect her, and I meant it. They left the coffee shop at 10:47 a.m., 5 hours and 13 minutes remaining. Julian drove while Hope tried to form a plan. Her phone buzzed constantly. Dot frantic with updates, the security team demanding instructions. Jonathan threatening to call the FBI despite Julian's orders. We need help, Hope said. We can't do this alone. Victoria said no police. Victoria said no police. She didn't say anything about other kinds of help. What do you mean? Hope pulled out her phone and dialed Ruth Jameson. Ruth, I need a favor. A big one. Name it. Do you still have contacts at the Community Outreach Center, the one that works with former gang members? Hope, what are you mixed up in? A child's been kidnapped. A little girl I love like my own. We have less than 6 hours and we can't call the police. Ruth was silent for a moment. Then she said, There's a man named Marcus Washington. He runs the youth program at First Baptist. Before he found God, he ran with some rough people. He might know that warehouse district. Can you get me his number? I can do better than that. I'll have him meet you. Where are you headed? Hope gave her the address. Ruth promised to make calls. By 11:30 a.m., they had pulled into a gas station 3 miles from the warehouse district. A black pickup truck was already waiting. A large man in his 50s stepped out, his face weathered but kind. You Hope? He asked. Yes, thank you for coming. Marcus Washington looked at Julian, then back at Hope. Ruth told me a child is in danger. Tell me everything. Julian explained while Hope kept watch. When he finished, Marcus nodded slowly. I know that warehouse. Used to run product through there 20 years ago before I got clean. It's got 2 entrances. Main door in front, loading dock in back. If this woman is smart, she'll have someone watching both. She's smart, Hope said. Too smart. Then we need to be smarter. How much time we got? Julian checked his phone. 4 hours and 42 minutes. Marcus pulled out his own phone. I'm calling in some favors. I got boys who owe me their lives. Literally, they'll help. This isn't your fight, Julian said. I can't ask strangers to risk themselves for my daughter. Marcus looked at him with eyes that had seen too much darkness. Mister, when I was running these streets, I did terrible things. Things I still pray about every night. God gave me a second chance. He put me in a position where I could help instead of hurt. You think I'm going to turn away from a stolen child? That little girl is everybody's fight. By 1:00 p.m., they had assembled a team. Marcus brought 3 men, all former gang members, all now working with his youth program. They knew the warehouse district like the backs of their hands. Hope called Dot for an update. Victoria came back to the house this morning, Dot whispered. Before the security shift changed, she knew exactly when to come. She had help. Hope. Inside help. Who? The new security guard, the one who started last month. I just found out Victoria paid him $50,000. Hope's blood ran cold. Victoria had planned this for weeks, maybe longer. Is Mrs. Margaret okay? She's beside herself. Julian had to give her sedatives. She keeps saying it's her fault that she should have seen this coming. Tell her it's not her fault. Tell her we're going to bring Lily home. Hope, be careful. Please. Victoria isn't just angry. She's broken. Broken people do terrible things. At 2:15 p.m., they made their first move. Marcus sent 2 of his men to scout the warehouse. They came back 15 minutes later with critical information. 1 guard at the front, armed. Another one at the loading dock, also armed. There's a 3rd one inside patrolling. What about Victoria? Julian demanded. Did you see Lily? Saw movement on the 2nd floor. Looks like they're keeping the kid up there. Woman matching Victoria's description went in about an hour ago. She hasn't come out. Julian started toward his car. I'm going in. Hope grabbed his arm. Wait. We need a plan. My daughter is in there with that monster. I don't need a plan. I need to move. And if you go in there half-cocked, Victoria will use Lily as a shield. She'll hurt her just to hurt you. Is that what you want? Julian stopped. His whole body was shaking. I can't lose her, he whispered. She's all I have left. Hope looked him in the eyes. You're not going to lose her, but you need to trust me. Can you do that? He nodded slowly. Then here's what we're going to do. The plan was risky. The plan was insane, but it was the only plan they had. At 3:00 p.m., Julian walked toward the front entrance of the warehouse, alone, carrying a briefcase that supposedly contained $10 million. In reality, the briefcase held bundles of cut newspaper covered with a thin layer of real $100 bills. Marcus had arranged it. A trick from his old life. Julian's hands were steady now. The fear had transformed into something else. Determination. Cold, focused, unstoppable. The guard at the front door stopped him. You Mercer? Yes. Open the case. Julian opened it. The guard saw the bills on top and nodded. She's waiting upstairs. Don't try anything stupid. Julian walked inside. The warehouse was vast and empty dust, floating in the beams of light from broken windows. His footsteps echoed as he climbed the metal stairs to the 2nd floor. Victoria was waiting for him. She sat in a folding chair, legs crossed, looking almost bored. Behind her, Lily sat on a dirty mattress, her hands tied in front of her, a piece of tape over her mouth. Her eyes were red from crying. When she saw her father, she tried to scream, but the tape muffled everything. Daddy's here, baby, Julian said, his voice cracking. Daddy's here. How touching, Victoria said. The devoted father rushing to save his precious little girl. It almost makes me feel bad about what I'm going to do. You have the money. Let her go. Victoria laughed. You think this is about money, Julian, sweetheart? This was never about money. This is about respect. This is about consequences. You humiliated me. You threw me out like garbage. You chose that black maid over me. I chose my daughter over you. Same thing. Victoria stood up and walked toward Lily. You know what's funny? I actually liked this kid at first. She was quiet, obedient, easy to manage. But then that nanny started filling her head with ideas, started teaching her to resist, and suddenly, my perfect little doll had a mind of her own. Julian stepped forward. Don't touch her. Victoria pulled a small gun from her waistband. Julian froze. I really wouldn't do that if I were you. Victoria, please. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. Money, property, anything. Just let Lily go. What I want is for you to suffer, the way you made me suffer, the way everyone has always made me suffer. Her voice cracked with genuine emotion. Do you know what it's like to be told you're not good enough your whole life, to have to fight and claw for every scrap of happiness, and then to have it all taken away by a man who thinks he's better than you? I never thought I was better than you. Yes, you did. You all do. The rich men with their perfect families and their perfect lives. You think you can use women like me and then throw us away when something shinier comes along. That's not what happened. That's exactly what happened, Victoria screamed. The gun trembled in her hand. I gave you everything. I was the perfect girlfriend, the perfect fiancée, the perfect mother to your broken little brat. And what did I get? Accusations, humiliation. My name dragged through the mud. Behind the warehouse, Hope crept through the loading dock entrance. Marcus's men had neutralized the guard there silently, professionally. She moved through the shadows, listening to Victoria's voice echoing from above. I'm going to give you a choice, Julian, Victoria continued. You can take your daughter and leave. But first, you're going to watch me kill myself, right here in front of her. Let her live with that memory for the rest of her life. The last thing she'll ever see is the woman her father destroyed bleeding out on the floor. Julian's face went white. Victoria, don't do this. Or, Victoria continued, her voice dropping to a whisper, you can take my place. One bullet, quick and clean. Lily won't have to watch anything. She'll just know that Daddy loved her enough to die for her. Take me. Shoot me. Just let her go. Victoria smiled. I knew you'd say that. You really are predictable, Julian. Hope reached the top of the stairs. She could see Victoria's back, the gun in her hand, Julian frozen in place, and Lily tied up on the mattress, her eyes wide with terror. Hope's heart pounded. She had no weapon, no backup, nothing but her own 2 hands and a promise she had made to a little girl. She moved. Victoria heard the footstep too late. She spun around, but Hope was already there, grabbing her wrist, forcing the gun upward. It discharged into the ceiling. Plaster rained down. You! Victoria shrieked. How did you? Hope didn't answer. She twisted Victoria's wrist until the gun clattered to the floor. Victoria fought back, scratching, biting, screaming like an animal. Julian lunged for Lily, scooping her into his arms, ripping the tape from her mouth. Daddy, Daddy. I've got you, baby. I've got you. Victoria managed to break free from Hope's grip. She scrambled for the gun, but Hope kicked it away. It skittered across the floor and disappeared through a gap in the floorboards. You ruined everything, Victoria screamed. She threw herself at Hope, knocking her backward. They crashed into a stack of wooden pallets. Pain exploded through Hope's shoulder. Victoria's hands wrapped around Hope's throat. Her eyes were wild, inhuman. You should have stayed gone. You should have disappeared like all the others, but you just couldn't let go, could you? You just had to play hero. Hope couldn't breathe. Dark spots danced in her vision. She clawed at Victoria's hands, but the woman's grip was iron. Hope? Julian's voice seemed far away. Hope. In her fading vision, Hope saw Lily's face, those big brown eyes, that trembling lip, the child who had lost so much and still had so much to lose. Faith, Hope thought. Give me strength. She brought her knee up hard into Victoria's stomach. Victoria gasped, her grip loosening just enough. Hope twisted sideways, breaking free, gasping for air. Victoria staggered back, clutching her abdomen, but she wasn't finished. She grabbed a piece of broken wood from the pallets and swung. Hope ducked. The wood whistled past her head. Victoria swung again. This time it connected with Hope's arm. The pain was blinding. I'm going to kill you, Victoria hissed. I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to finish what I started with that brat. Footsteps thundered on the stairs. Marcus and his men burst onto the second floor. Victoria looked at them, then at the broken window behind her. For one terrible moment, Hope thought she was going to jump. Instead, Victoria smiled. A cold, empty smile. You think this is over, she said. This is never over. Even if you lock me away, I'll find a way back. I'll find her. I'll find all of you. Marcus stepped forward. Ma'am, I think it's time you sat down. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called the police, after all. Victoria's smile faded. She looked at Julian, who was still holding Lily, both of them crying. She looked at Hope, clutching her injured arm, but standing tall. She looked at Marcus and his men, forming a wall between her and the stairs. She was trapped. It wasn't supposed to end like this, she whispered. I was supposed to win. I always win. Not this time, Hope said quietly. The police arrived at 4:17 p.m., 1 hour and 43 minutes before the deadline. Victoria was taken into custody, screaming threats and accusations the whole way. The guards she had hired were arrested too, along with the security guard from the mansion who had helped her get inside. Julian sat in the back of an ambulance, Lily asleep in his arms. She hadn't let go of him since the rescue. The paramedics wanted to take her to the hospital for evaluation, but she refused to leave her father's side. Hope sat on the curb nearby, a bandage wrapped around her arm where Victoria's blow had landed. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving exhaustion and pain in its wake. Julian looked over at her. Their eyes met. "You saved her life," he said. "You saved both of our lives." Hope shook her head. "I just kept a promise." It was more than that. When Victoria had that gun when she was making me choose, I thought it was over. I thought I was going to die in that warehouse and my daughter was going to watch. But you didn't, and she didn't. That's what matters. Lily stirred in Julian's arms. Her eyes fluttered open. "Hope," she whispered. Hope moved closer, kneeling beside the ambulance. "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm right here." Lily reached out with one small hand and touched Hope's face. "You came back. Victoria said you were never coming back. She said you forgot about me." Hope felt tears streaming down her cheeks. "I could never forget about you, Lily. Never. Not in a million years. Promise. I promise. With my whole heart." Lily smiled, a real smile. The first one Hope had seen in months. "Daddy," Lily said sleepily, "can Hope stay with us forever?" Julian looked at Hope. Something passed between them, something that went beyond gratitude, beyond obligation. "That's up to Hope," he said softly. "But I hope she will." Detective Sarah Chen arrived at 5:30 p.m. to take statements. She was a veteran of the Atlanta PD with sharp eyes and no tolerance for nonsense. "Mr. Mercer, I'm going to need you to walk me through everything, from the beginning." Julian did, the whole story. Victoria's abuse, Hope's firing, the kidnapping, the rescue. When he finished, Detective Chen turned to Hope. "Miss Carter, you're either the bravest woman I've ever met, or the craziest. Walking into that warehouse unarmed, taking on an armed suspect. That was incredibly dangerous. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. You chose to risk your life for a child who isn't even yours." Hope looked at Lily, now sleeping peacefully in the ambulance. "She is mine," Hope said quietly. "Maybe not by blood, but in every way that matters." Detective Chen studied her for a long moment. Then she nodded. "We're going to need you both to come to the station tomorrow. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of questions. Victoria Stone is being charged with kidnapping, assault, child abuse, and about a dozen other things. Her lawyer is already screaming about entrapment and excessive force, but none of it's going to stick. We've got her dead to rights." "What about the other cases?" Julian asked. "Miami, San Francisco." "Those jurisdictions have already been notified. Whatever sealed records Victoria had are about to be unsealed. She's going away for a very long time." It was dark by the time they left the warehouse district. Julian drove. Lily was strapped into the back seat, still clutching Hope's hand through the gap between the seats. "What happens now?" Hope asked. Julian was quiet for a long moment. "I don't know," he admitted. "Everything I thought I knew about my life, about myself, it's all been shattered. I trusted the wrong person. I failed my daughter. I destroyed an innocent woman's reputation. You can't change what happened. You can only change what comes next. Is that what you believe?" Hope thought about Faith, about the 3 years of grief that had nearly destroyed her, about the darkness that had threatened to swallow her whole. "It's what I have to believe," she said. "Otherwise, what's the point?" They pulled into the Mercer estate at 8:47 p.m. Dot was waiting at the front door, tears streaming down her face. Mrs. Margaret was in her wheelchair beside her, looking 10 years older than she had that morning. "Lily," Dot cried. "Oh, thank God! Thank God!" Julian carried his sleeping daughter inside. Mrs. Margaret reached up to touch the child's face, her wrinkled hand trembling. "Is she hurt?" Margaret whispered. "A few bruises, nothing permanent. She's going to be okay." "And that woman Victoria, in custody. She's never coming near this family again." Margaret's eyes moved to Hope, standing awkwardly in the doorway. "You?" Margaret said. "Come here." Hope approached cautiously. She hadn't spoken to Julian's grandmother since the day she was fired. Margaret took her hand with surprising strength. "I owe you an apology," the old woman said. "I saw what was happening. I knew something was wrong, but I was too weak, too scared to speak up. I let my grandson believe a lie because the truth was too hard to face." "Mrs. Margaret." "No, let me finish. You did what I couldn't do. You stood up for that child when everyone else turned away. That takes a special kind of courage, the kind that doesn't come from strength. It comes from love." Hope felt tears threatening again. "I didn't do it for praise or recognition. I did it because you couldn't not do it. I know." Margaret smiled faintly. "That's what makes you different from the rest of us. You don't just see what's right. You do what's right, even when it costs you everything." Julian appeared in the hallway. Mother is settled. Dot is sitting with her. She won't let go of Dot's hand. Margaret looked at her grandson. "Julian, this woman saved our family. Whatever she needs, whatever she wants, you make sure she gets it." "I intend to." Hope tried to object. "I don't need anything. I just need to know that Lily is safe." Julian stepped closer. "She's safe. Because of you. And that's not something I can ever repay. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying." The clock on the wall read 9:15 p.m. 12 hours since Lily had been taken. 12 hours since Hope's world had collapsed and rebuilt itself. She looked around the grand foyer of the Mercer mansion, the place where she had been accused, humiliated, thrown out like garbage, the place where she had thought she would never return. Now she was standing here being thanked by the very people who had doubted her. The irony wasn't lost on her, but neither was the grace. "I should go," Hope said finally. "It's late. You all need rest." "Stay," Julian said. "Please. There's a guest room made up. Tomorrow we can talk about everything, but tonight just stay. Lily will want to see you when she wakes up." Hope hesitated. Part of her wanted to run back to the shelter, back to the familiar safety of her narrow bed and her worn Bible and her memories of faith. But another part of her, a stronger part, knew that this was where she was supposed to be. "Okay," she said softly. "I'll stay." Julian smiled, a real smile, the first one she had ever seen from him. "Thank you," he said, "for everything." Hope nodded and followed Dot up the stairs to the guest room. Behind her, Julian stood in the foyer watching her go. In his chest, something shifted. Something that had been frozen for a long time began very slowly to thaw. Outside, the night was quiet. The storm had passed, but for the Mercer family and for Hope Carter, the real journey was just beginning. Hope woke at 5:47 a.m. to the sound of small footsteps outside her door. She sat up in the unfamiliar bed, her heart pounding. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then everything came flooding back. The warehouse, Victoria's gun, Lily's terrified eyes. The door creaked open. A small figure appeared in the dim light. "Hope!" Lily's voice was barely a whisper. "Are you awake?" Hope threw back the covers. "I'm here, sweetheart. Come here." Lily ran across the room and climbed onto the bed, burrowing into Hope's arms like a small animal seeking shelter from a storm. "I had a bad dream," Lily whimpered. "Victoria was there. She said she was coming back. She said she was going to take me away again." Hope held her tight. "It was just a dream, baby. Victoria can't hurt you anymore. She's locked up. The police have her. Promise? I promise." Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Hope, when Mommy went to heaven, I didn't understand. I thought she was coming back. I waited by the window every day for a whole month." Hope's heart clenched. "I know, sweetheart. When you went away, I thought the same thing happened. I thought you went to heaven too. I thought everyone who loved me was going to heaven and leaving me behind." Tears burned in Hope's eyes. "I didn't go to heaven, Lily. I was right here the whole time, and I never stopped thinking about you, not for one single day." Lily looked up at her with those big brown eyes. "Why do people leave? It was the kind of question that had no easy answer, the kind of question that adults spent their whole lives trying to figure out. "Sometimes people have to leave," Hope said carefully. "Not because they want to, but because life is complicated. But the love doesn't leave Lily. Even when people go away, the love stays. It's always with you right here." She touched Lily's chest right over her heart. "Is that where Mommy is, in my heart?" "That's exactly where she is, and she's so proud of you, sweetheart. So, so proud." They lay there together as the sun rose, filling the room with soft golden light. For the first time in months, Lily fell into a peaceful sleep. Hope stayed awake, watching her breathe, making silent promises that she would never break. At 8:15 a.m., Julian found them there. He stood in the doorway, still in yesterday's clothes, dark circles under his eyes. "She came to you," he said quietly. "She had a nightmare." Julian nodded slowly. He walked over and sat on the edge of the bed, looking at his sleeping daughter. "She hasn't slept through the night in months. Victoria convinced me it was anxiety about school, about making friends, about everything except the real reason. Children are resilient. She'll heal." "Will she?" Julian's voice cracked. "I let this happen to her, Hope. I let a monster into our home. I chose that monster over everyone who tried to warn me. You made a mistake, a terrible mistake. But you're here now. You're fighting for her now. That's what matters." "Is it enough?" Hope looked at him. She saw the guilt in his eyes, the weight of it pressing down on his shoulders. "I lost my daughter," she said quietly. "Faith. She was 7 when she died. Leukemia. I spent 3 years asking myself if I had done enough, if I had fought hard enough, if I had loved her enough to save her." Julian's face softened. "I'm so sorry." "The answer is no. Nothing I did was ever going to be enough, because some things are beyond our control. But that doesn't mean we stop trying. It doesn't mean we stop loving. It doesn't mean we give up." "How did you survive it? The loss?" Hope thought about it, really thought about it. "I didn't. Not at first. For a long time I was just going through the motions, getting up, going to work, eating, sleeping, but not really living. Then I took the job here. I met Lily, and something in me woke up again. She brought you back to life. She reminded me that there was still something worth fighting for." Lily stirred between them. Her eyes fluttered open. "Daddy." Julian leaned down and kissed her forehead. "Good morning, Princess. Is Hope staying?" Julian looked at Hope. The question hung in the air between them. "That's up to Hope," he said. Lily turned to Hope with pleading eyes. "Please stay. Please. I'll be good. I'll clean my room every day. I won't make any messes. Just please don't go away again." Hope felt her heart crack open. "Sweetheart, listen to me. You don't have to be good for me to stay. You don't have to do anything. I'm not going anywhere because of messes or noise or anything you do. I'm staying because I love you. It's that simple." Lily's face transformed. The fear melted away, replaced by something Hope had almost forgotten existed. Pure, uncomplicated joy. "You love me." "More than anything in this world." Lily threw her arms around Hope's neck. "I love you too. I love you so much." Julian watched them, his eyes glistening. In that moment, he understood something he had been too blind to see before. Love wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about status or appearance or checking the right boxes. Love was about showing up, about fighting for the people who needed you, about staying when it would be easier to leave. Hope had shown up for his daughter when he hadn't. She had fought for Lily when everyone else had given up. She had stayed true to a child who wasn't even hers. That was love, real love, the kind his wife had taught him about before she died, the kind he had forgotten in his grief. "Hope," he said quietly, "can we talk later today? There are things I need to say." Hope met his eyes. "Okay." At 10:30 a.m., Detective Chen arrived with news. Julian met her in the study, while Hope stayed with Lily. The little girl refused to let Hope out of her sight. "Victoria is talking," Detective Chen said. "A lot. Her lawyer is trying to shut her up, but she's determined to bring everyone down with her. What is she saying? She's claiming you knew about the abuse, that you looked the other way because you didn't want the scandal. Julian's jaw tightened. That's a lie. I know it is, but her lawyer is good. He's going to try to muddy the waters, make it look like you were complicit. I wasn't. I didn't know what was happening to my daughter. Can you prove that? Julian thought about it. The security footage, the testimonies from staff, his own ignorance. I can prove that I was absent, that I wasn't paying attention, that I trusted the wrong person. Is that what you need? Detective Chen studied him. What I need is for you to be honest, completely honest. If there's anything you're not telling me anything at all, it will come out in the trial. Better it comes from you first. There's nothing. I was a fool and a bad father, but I never laid a hand on my daughter, and I never knew Victoria was hurting her. What about Hope Carter? Victoria is claiming she coached your daughter, that she manipulated her testimony. Julian felt anger flare in his chest. Hope Carter is the only reason my daughter is alive. She risked her life to save Lily. She walked into that warehouse unarmed, knowing Victoria had a gun. That's not manipulation. That's heroism. I believe you, but the defense is going to go after her hard. They're going to dig into her past, try to find anything they can use. Her past? Her daughter's death, her husband leaving, the job she lost before she came to work for you. They'll twist everything to make her look unstable, obsessive. That's not who she is. Doesn't matter who she is. Matters what they can make the jury believe. Julian stood up and paced the room. What can I do? How do I protect her? You can testify. Tell the truth about what Victoria did, what Hope did. Let the jury see you taking responsibility for your mistakes. I'll do whatever it takes. Detective Chen nodded. The preliminary hearing is in 2 weeks. I'll need both you and Miss Carter to be available for preparation. We'll be there. After the detective left, Julian found Hope in the playroom with Lily. They were drawing together crayons scattered across the table paper everywhere. Hope, Julian said, can I steal you for a few minutes? Dot can stay with Lily. Hope looked at Lily, who immediately grabbed her hand. It's okay, sweetheart, Hope said. I'm just going to talk to your daddy. I'll be right back. Promise? I promise. They walked to Julian's study. He closed the door behind them. Victoria's lawyer is going to come after you, Julian said without preamble. They're going to dig into your past, try to discredit you. Hope's face remained calm. I expected that. You did. People like Victoria don't go down quietly. They drag everyone into the mud with them. It's the only way they know how to fight. I won't let them destroy you. Not after everything you've done. Julian, my past isn't pretty. I lost my daughter. My husband left. I was fired from my nursing job because I was too distracted by grief to function. If they want to paint me as damaged, they'll have plenty of material. Being damaged isn't a crime. No, but it makes it easier for people to doubt you. Hope looked at him steadily. I need you to understand something. I'm not afraid of Victoria's lawyers. I'm not afraid of what they might find. I've lived through worse than a courtroom. What I'm afraid of is Lily getting hurt again. If this trial becomes a circus, if the media starts digging into every corner of her life, I'll protect her, whatever it takes. You can't protect her from everything, Julian. Some things she's going to have to face. The question is whether she'll have to face them alone. And Julian stepped closer. She won't be alone. Neither will you. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. An understanding that went deeper than words. Hope's phone buzzed, breaking the moment. It's Ruth, she said, checking the screen. I should take this. She stepped away, her voice low. Julian watched her, feeling something shift in his chest. When Hope returned, her face was troubled. What's wrong? Ruth heard from Marcus. Victoria made a phone call from jail this morning, to someone outside. Who? They don't know yet, but Marcus's contacts say she was talking about unfinished business, about making sure certain people pay. Julian's blood ran cold. She's locked up. What can she do from jail? You don't know Victoria like I do. She doesn't need to be free to hurt people. She has money. She has connections. She probably has people on the outside who owe her. What do you think she's planning? Hope's jaw tightened. I don't know, but I think we need to be careful, really careful. At 2:15 p.m., the first threat arrived. It came in the form of an anonymous letter delivered to the mansion's mailbox. No return address, no postmark. Someone had placed it there directly. Dot found it and brought it straight to Julian. The message was simple. Typed, cold. You think this is over? It's just beginning. Watch your back. Watch your daughter. Watch the woman you chose over me. Julian's hands shook as he read it. He showed it to Hope. We need to call Detective Chen, Hope said immediately, and say what someone left an anonymous note. It's a threat, Julian, against all of us. From Victoria. Who else? Julian made the call. Detective Chen arrived within the hour. She took the letter bagged it promised to have it analyzed. There's not much we can do with an anonymous letter, she admitted, but I'll post a patrol car outside the house, and I'd recommend you beef up your security. Replace anyone who might have ties to Victoria. I already did that. Do it again. Trust no one you haven't known for years. After she left, Julian called an emergency meeting with his security team. 3 guards were let go on the spot. The rest were given new protocols, new passwords, new procedures. By 6:00 p.m., the mansion was locked down tighter than it had ever been. But Hope couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't enough. That night she sat with Lily until the child fell asleep. Then she walked the halls of the mansion, checking windows, checking doors, checking every shadow. Julian found her in the kitchen at 11:30 p.m. You can't sleep either, he said. No. He poured 2 glasses of water and handed one to her. What are you thinking about? Hope was quiet for a moment. When Faith was sick, I used to walk the halls of our apartment just like this, checking on her every few minutes, making sure she was still breathing. I thought if I was vigilant enough, if I watched closely enough, I could keep her alive. But you couldn't. No, some things are beyond our control, but I've never been able to stop trying. Julian set down his glass. Hope, I need to tell you something. Something I've been afraid to say. She looked at him, waiting. When you worked here before, I barely noticed you. You were just the nanny, someone who came and went. I never saw you, never really saw you. Most people don't see the help. That's not an excuse. It's a failure. When Victoria accused you, I believed her without question. Not because the evidence supported it, but because it was easier. Easier to believe the beautiful woman on my arm than the woman in a uniform. You're not telling me anything I don't know. I know, but I need to say it out loud. I need you to hear me take responsibility. He stepped closer. What I did was wrong. Firing you without listening. Throwing you out like you were nothing. Letting Victoria destroy your reputation. I was a coward and a fool. Yes, you were. And now I'm trying to be better. For Lily, for myself, and for you. Hope studied his face. She saw sincerity there. Pain, regret. Apologies don't fix things, Julian. Actions do. Then let me show you. Every day. Whatever it takes, however long it takes. I will spend the rest of my life proving to you that I've changed. It was a bold promise, the kind of promise that most people couldn't keep. But something in his voice made Hope believe him. Okay, she said quietly. Show me. 3 days passed without incident, then 4, then 5. Lily began to smile again. She ate her meals without being forced. She slept through the night more often than not. The nightmares were still there, but they were fading. Hope settled into a routine. Mornings with Lily, afternoons helping her catch up on schoolwork, evenings with the whole family, including Mrs. Margaret, who had taken a fierce liking to Hope. You remind me of Julian's mother, Margaret said one evening. She had the same fire in her eyes, the same stubborn spine. I'll take that as a compliment. It was meant as one. Margaret lowered her voice. Julian watches you, you know, when he thinks no one is looking. He watches you like you're the answer to a question he's been asking for years. Hope felt her cheeks warm. Mrs. Margaret. Oh, don't pretend you haven't noticed. I'm 80 years old, not blind. The man is falling for you, hard. The question is what you're going to do about it. Hope didn't have an answer. Not yet. On the 7th day, the second threat arrived. This time, it wasn't a letter. It was a photograph. Lily at the playground taken from a distance. Hope was with her, pushing her on the swings. Neither of them had noticed anything unusual that day, but someone had been watching. On the back of the photo, 3 words were written in red ink. I see everything. Julian called Detective Chen immediately. She came with 2 other officers and a forensic team. This is escalation, she said grimly. Whoever sent this wanted you to know they can get close. Really close. Is it Victoria? She's been in custody the whole time, no visitors except her lawyer. But she could have arranged this before she was arrested, or she could have someone on the outside doing her bidding. So what do we do? Lock ourselves inside forever? You could send Lily away, somewhere safe, until the trial is over. Julian shook his head. No, I just got her back. I'm not sending her away. Hope spoke up. What about hiding in plain sight? Everyone looked at her. What do you mean? Detective Chen asked. Victoria expects Julian to run scared, to hide behind walls and guards. What if we do the opposite? What if we go public? Tell our story before Victoria's lawyers can twist it. That's risky, Julian said. It's also smart, Detective Chen admitted. Public sympathy is powerful. If the world sees Victoria as the villain and your family as the victims, it'll be harder for her to spin the narrative. Julian considered it. Who would we talk to? I know a journalist, Hope said. Sarah Mitchell. She works for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. She's honest, fair. She won't sensationalize. How do you know her? She did a story on faith. When my daughter was sick, Sarah wrote about families struggling with pediatric cancer. She treated us with dignity. I trust her. Julian looked at his mother at Dot at the security team. Then he looked at Hope. Make the call. Sarah Mitchell arrived at the mansion the next morning. She was in her 40s with sharp eyes and a notebook that never left her hand. Before we start, she said, I need to know the rules. What's off limits? Lily's face, Julian said immediately. We don't show her face. We don't use her full name. She's been through enough. Agreed. What else? Nothing else. Ask whatever you want. I'll answer honestly. The interview lasted 4 hours. Julian told his story from the beginning, how he met Victoria, how she charmed him, how blind he had been to what was happening under his own roof. Hope told her story too, the abuse she witnessed, the day she was fired, the months of struggling to survive while Victoria destroyed her reputation. When it was over, Sarah looked at them both with something like respect. This is going to be a big story, front page, national pickup. Are you ready for that kind of attention? No, Julian admitted, but we're ready for the truth to come out. The story broke 3 days later. It spread like wildfire. By noon, every major news outlet in the country was covering it. By evening, Victoria Stone's name was synonymous with villain. Her lawyer released a statement calling the article biased and one-sided. No one listened. The public had found their hero, and her name was Hope Carter. On the 9th day after the interview, something unexpected happened. The other victims came forward. The family from Miami, the family from San Francisco, others who had never spoken publicly before. One by one, they emerged from the shadows. Victoria Blackwell had hurt children in 5 different cities over 15 years. She had manipulated wealthy widowers, wormed her way into their families, abused their children, and walked away with settlements and silence. Until now. The district attorney called Julian with news. They were adding charges. A lot of charges. Victoria was looking at decades in prison, not just years. You did this, Julian said to Hope that night. You broke the dam. You gave other victims the courage to speak up. They found their own courage. I just reminded them it was possible. Julian reached out and took her hand. She didn't pull away. Hope, I know this isn't the right time. I know there's still so much chaos, so much uncertainty, but I need you to know something. What? You changed my life, not just by saving Lily, by showing me what real strength looks like, what real love looks like. I spent so long chasing perfection that I forgot what actually matters. Julian, I'm not asking for anything. I'm not expecting anything. I just needed you to know that whatever happens next, whatever the future holds, I'm grateful. For you. For everything you are. Hope looked at him. This broken, imperfect man who had made terrible mistakes, but was fighting every day to be better. I'm grateful too, she said quietly. For Lily. For this second chance. For the family I thought I'd never have again. Julian's hand tightened around hers. Maybe we can build something together. Not perfect, not easy, but real. Hope thought about Faith, about the promise she had made to protect, to love, to never give up. Maybe we can, she said. On the 12th day, Victoria made her move. She fired her lawyer, requested a public defender, claimed she was being persecuted by a wealthy man who wanted to silence her. Then she gave a jailhouse interview to a tabloid reporter. Julian Mercer is the real monster, Victoria said, tears streaming down her face. He abused that child. He paid me to take the blame. Hope Carter was in on it from the beginning. They set me up. It was a desperate lie, ridiculous on its face. But lies have a way of finding believers. Within hours, a small but vocal group on social media was demanding answers, demanding investigations, demanding Victoria's release. Julian watched the chaos unfold on the news, his jaw tight. She's losing, Hope said. This is her last desperate attempt to change the narrative. It's working. Look at those hashtags. The truth is on our side. The evidence is on our side. A few conspiracy theorists don't change that. What if they do? What if the jury sees this and starts to doubt? Hope grabbed his shoulders, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. We have survived everything Victoria has thrown at us. The abuse, the firing, the kidnapping, the threats. We are still standing. She is not going to win this. Not now, not ever. Julian looked into her eyes. He saw no fear there, only certainty. How are you so strong? He whispered. Because I have something worth fighting for. Mrs. Margaret appeared in the doorway, her wheelchair blocking the entrance. If you two are done having a moment, she said dryly, there's someone here to see you, says she has information about Victoria, information that changes everything. Julian and Hope exchanged glances. Who is it? Margaret smiled grimly. Victoria's mother. Victoria's mother was nothing like Hope expected. Eleanor Blackwell was 63 years old, frail, with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, and hands that trembled when she wasn't holding something. She sat in Julian's study like a woman who had spent her whole life apologizing for existing. Thank you for seeing me, Eleanor said, her voice barely above a whisper. I know I have no right to be here, not after what my daughter did. Julian sat across from her, his posture rigid. Why are you here, Mrs. Blackwell? Because I can't carry this anymore. Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. I've been silent for 30 years, watching Victoria destroy lives, watching her hurt children. And I said nothing, because she's my daughter, because I was afraid. Hope leaned forward. Afraid of what? Of her. Eleanor's voice cracked. You don't know what she's capable of. You've seen the surface. You've seen what she does to other people's children. But you don't know where it started. You don't know what made her this way. Then tell us, Julian said. Eleanor took a shaky breath. Victoria was abused as a child. By her father. My husband. It started when she was 4 years old and continued until she was 12. I knew the whole time, and I did nothing. The words hung in the air like poison. I was young when I married Harold, 19. He was charming, successful, everything a girl from my background could want. But behind closed doors, he was a monster. He controlled everything, the money, the house, my life. When Victoria was born, I thought things would change. I thought a child would soften him. But it didn't, Hope said quietly. No, it made him worse. He became obsessed with her, and Eleanor's voice broke. I looked the other way. I told myself it wasn't happening. I buried myself in pills and wine and pretended we were a normal family. Julian's jaw tightened. Why are you telling us this now? Because Victoria is going to destroy herself. And before she does, I want someone to understand. Not forgive, just understand. Eleanor pulled a worn folder from her bag. I've kept records, documents, medical reports from when Victoria was hospitalized as a teenager, psychiatric evaluations, letters she wrote to me that I never answered. She placed the folder on the desk between them. This is everything. The truth about who my daughter was before she became this thing. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't, but I can't stay silent anymore. Julian didn't touch the folder. Your daughter kidnapped my child at gunpoint. She abused her for months. She tried to kill the woman who protected her. I'm not sure understanding changes any of that. It doesn't. Nothing changes what Victoria did. But maybe it explains why she keeps doing it, why she targets children, why she can't stop. Hope reached for the folder. May I? Eleanor nodded. Hope opened it and began to read. Medical reports. Police reports that were never filed. Letters written in a child's handwriting begging for help that never came. My God, Hope whispered. Victoria was a victim before she became a predator, Eleanor said. I'm not excusing what she did. I'm not asking for mercy. I'm just telling you the truth, the whole truth, something I should have done decades ago. Julian stood up abruptly. I need air. He walked out of the room without another word. Hope stayed with Eleanor. She had questions. A lot of questions. Why didn't you leave him? Your husband. Where would I go? I had no money, no family, no skills. Harold made sure of that. He isolated me from everyone who might have helped. By the time Victoria was old enough to tell someone what was happening, I had convinced myself it was normal, that all families had secrets. What happened to him? Your husband? Eleanor's expression hardened. He died when Victoria was 15. Heart attack. The doctor said it was sudden, unexpected, but I've always wondered what? If Victoria helped it along. She was different after he died. Colder, more calculating, like something inside her had finally broken free. Hope closed the folder. Mrs. Blackwell, I appreciate you coming here. I know it wasn't easy, but I need to ask you something directly. Ask. Are you willing to testify at Victoria's trial? Tell the jury everything you just told us. Eleanor's face went pale. She would never forgive me. She kidnapped a 5-year-old child. She held a gun on her. She threatened to kill her. Forgiveness isn't really on the table anymore. Eleanor was silent for a long moment. Her hands twisted in her lap. Finally, she looked up. Yes, I'll testify. It's the least I owe those children. All of them. Julian returned 30 minutes later. His eyes were red, but his voice was steady. I spoke with Detective Chen, he said. She wants to meet with Mrs. Blackwell. Take an official statement. Eleanor nodded. I expected that. She also said something else, something about Victoria. Hope looked at him. What? She's refusing to eat, won't talk to her lawyer, won't talk to anyone. She's been asking for her mother. Eleanor's face crumpled. She wants me. Apparently, she's been calling your name in her sleep. The guards are concerned she might hurt herself. Hope watched Eleanor carefully. She saw the conflict there, the guilt, the love that refused to die despite everything. You don't have to go, Hope said gently. Not if you're not ready. No. Eleanor straightened her spine. I abandoned her once. I can't do it again, even now, even after everything. At 3:47 p.m. that afternoon, Eleanor Blackwell walked into the Atlanta County Jail. Hope and Julian waited outside. They couldn't go in, couldn't be part of whatever conversation was about to happen, but they could wait. An hour passed, then 2. At 6:15 p.m., Eleanor emerged. Her face was ashen, her eyes swollen from crying. What happened? Julian asked. Eleanor couldn't speak at first. She just stood there trembling, like a woman who had seen something that couldn't be unseen. She admitted it, Eleanor finally whispered. Everything. The abuse, the kidnapping, the things she did to those other children. She told me all of it. Hope felt her heart stop. She confessed, not officially, not on record, but to me, her mother. Eleanor wiped her eyes. She said she wanted someone to know, before the end. Before the end? What does that mean? She said she's not going to trial. She said they'll never put her in a cage. She said she'd rather die first. Julian grabbed Eleanor's shoulders. Is she planning to hurt herself? Did she say how... I don't know, she wouldn't tell me, but the way she looked at me, I've never seen her like that. Calm, peaceful, like she had already made up her mind. Julian pulled out his phone and called Detective Chen. The next 6 hours were chaos. The jail was put on suicide watch. Victoria's cell was searched. Her belongings were confiscated. Guards were posted outside her door around the clock. But they didn't find anything. No pills, no weapons, no contraband of any kind. Victoria just sat on her cot, smiling that cold, empty smile, refusing to speak to anyone. At 2:30 a.m., Hope's phone rang. It's Chen. We need you at the jail, both of you. Now. What happened? Victoria is asking to see Hope Carter. She says she has something to say, something that can't wait until morning. Hope looked at Julian, who had been listening. Don't go, he said immediately. It's a trap. She's manipulating you. Maybe. But what if it's not? What if she knows something that could help the case? The case is already won. She confessed to her mother. There's nothing she can tell you that changes anything. Hope thought about it. Thought about Lily. About all the other children Victoria had hurt. About the victims who had come forward and the ones who never would. I have to go, she said quietly. I have to know why. Why what? Why she did it. Why she kept doing it. Why she chose Lily. Hope's voice hardened. I need to understand, not for her, for me, so I can help Lily heal, so I can explain to her someday why this happened. Julian's jaw clenched. Then I'm coming with you. She only asked for me. I don't care what she asked for. I'm not letting you face her alone. At 3:15 a.m., Hope walked into the interrogation room at Atlanta County Jail. Victoria sat on the other side of the table, hands cuffed in front of her. She looked different, thinner, paler. The mask was completely gone now, revealing something raw and broken underneath. You came, Victoria said. I wasn't sure you would. What do you want, Victoria? To talk. Just talk. Before I can't anymore. Hope sat down across from her. Through the one-way glass, Julian and Detective Chen watched. You have 5 minutes, Hope said. Victoria smiled faintly. Always so practical. That's what I liked about you. Most people waste time with pleasantries. You go straight for the throat. You kidnapped a child I love. You held a gun on her. You threatened to kill her. I'm not interested in pleasantries. Fair enough. Victoria leaned forward. I wanted to apologize. To you specifically. Not to Julian, not to the police. To you. I don't want your apology. I know, but I'm giving it anyway. You were the only one who saw me. The only one who wasn't fooled. From the first day you walked into that house, you looked at me like you knew exactly what I was. I didn't know. I suspected. There's a difference. Is there... Victoria tilted her head. I've fooled a lot of people in my life. Rich men, smart men, powerful men, but I couldn't fool you, a maid, a nobody, a woman with nothing but a broken heart and a cheap uniform. Is that why you hated me? Because I saw through you? I didn't hate you. I feared you. There's a difference. Victoria's smile faded. Do you know what it's like to be afraid every moment of your life? To know that one wrong move, one slip of the mask, and everything falls apart? No, I don't know what that's like. Of course you don't. You're whole. Damaged maybe, but whole. I've never been whole. Not since I was 4 years old and my father first came into my room at night. Hope felt something shift in her chest. Not sympathy exactly, but recognition. Your mother told us. I figured she would. She always was weak. Couldn't keep a secret to save her life. Victoria's voice turned bitter. She knew what he was doing. For 8 years she knew. And she did nothing, said nothing, just looked the other way and pretended we were a happy family. That doesn't excuse what you did. No, it doesn't, but it explains it. Victoria's eyes met Hope's. I hurt those children because I wanted them to feel what I felt. I wanted them to know what it was like to be helpless, to be trapped, to have someone who was supposed to love you destroy you instead. They were innocent. Lily was innocent. I know. That's what made it so satisfying. Victoria's voice dropped to a whisper. And that's why I have to end it, because I can't stop. I've tried. God knows I've tried. But every time I see a happy child, a loved child, something inside me breaks, and I need to break them too. Hope leaned forward. What do you mean, end it? Victoria smiled, that same cold, empty smile. You'll see, soon enough. Victoria, if you're planning to hurt yourself. I'm not planning anything. I'm just tired. Tired of pretending, tired of fighting, tired of being this thing that I've become. Tears slid down her cheeks. I used to be a little girl, you know. A normal little girl who liked dolls and dresses and ice cream. Before my father took that away. Before my mother let him. You can still get help, therapy, treatment. It's too late for that. It was too late the moment I put that gun on Lily. Maybe before. Victoria wiped her eyes with her cuffed hands. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry and that Lily deserved better. She deserved you. She's lucky she found you. Victoria. Time's up. Victoria stood. Guard, I'm ready to go back. The door opened. 2 guards entered. Wait, Hope said. Victoria, whatever you're thinking. But Victoria was already walking away. She didn't look back. Hope sat alone in the interrogation room for a long time after she left. Julian found her there 20 minutes later. What did she say? She apologized, and then she scared me. Scared you how? I think she's planning something final. At 7:45 a.m., Hope's phone rang. Detective Chen's voice was grim. Victoria Stone was found unresponsive in her cell 30 minutes ago. She's being rushed to Grady Memorial. They're not sure she's going to make it. Hope's blood went cold. What happened? She had a razor blade. We don't know how she got it. She cut her wrists, both of them, deep. Oh, God. She left a note, addressed to you. Hope couldn't breathe. What does it say? I think you should come down here. See it for yourself. At 8:30 a.m., Hope stood in Detective Chen's office holding Victoria's final letter. The handwriting was shaky, barely legible, written in blood-tinged ink. Hope, you were right. I was broken beyond repair. But you showed me that broken things can still choose. I'm choosing to end it on my terms. Not theirs. Not yours. Mine. Tell Lily I'm sorry. Tell her the monster is gone. And tell Julian. Tell him the mask finally cracked. V. Hope's hands trembled as she set the letter down. Is she dead? Not yet, but the doctors aren't optimistic. She lost a lot of blood. Julian appeared in the doorway. His face was pale. I just got off the phone with the hospital. Victoria died 10 minutes ago. Silence fell over the room. Hope didn't know what to feel. Relief, horror, grief. Maybe all of them at once. It's over, Detective Chen said quietly. Finally over. But Hope knew it wasn't. Not really. The trial might be canceled. Victoria might be gone. But the damage she had done would echo for years, decades, maybe forever. The healing was just beginning. 1 year later. The Hope Foundation opened its doors on a crisp September morning. It stood on 2 acres of land just outside Atlanta, a beautiful complex of therapy rooms, play areas, and safe spaces for children who had survived abuse. Hope stood at the entrance watching the first families arrive. Beside her stood Julian, his hand warm in hers. And between them, holding both their hands, stood Lily. There's so many people. Lily set her eyes wide. They're here because of you, sweetheart, Hope said. Because your story gave other families hope. My story. Your story of surviving, of healing, of becoming brave enough to tell the truth. Lily thought about that. Victoria was really mean to me. Yes, she was. But she's not mean anymore. She went away. Hope knelt down to Lily's level. She did, and she can never hurt anyone ever again. Because of you. Because of all of us. You, me, your daddy, Grandma Margaret, Dot. Everyone who loved you enough to fight for you. Lily nodded solemnly. Then she smiled. That bright, beautiful smile that Hope had missed so desperately during those dark months. I love you, Hope. I love you too, sweetheart. More than anything in this world. Julian squeezed Hope's shoulder. They're ready for you inside. The ribbon-cutting ceremony. Hope stood and looked at the building one more time. The building that bore her name. The building that would help hundreds, maybe thousands of children find their way back from darkness. Let's go, she said. The ceremony was simple, but powerful. Marcus Washington spoke about redemption and second chances. Ruth Jameson spoke about faith and perseverance. Eleanor Blackwell, frail but determined, spoke about the courage it takes to break generational cycles of abuse. And then it was Hope's turn. She stood at the podium looking out at the crowd. She saw familiar faces, Dot crying happy tears, Mrs. Margaret proud and fierce in her wheelchair, Sarah Mitchell, the journalist who had broken the story, the families from Miami and San Francisco and all the other cities where Victoria had left her mark. 1 year ago, Hope began. I was a woman with nothing, no job, no home, no hope. I had lost my daughter to illness. I had lost my husband to grief. I had lost everything I thought mattered. She paused, collecting herself. And then I met a little girl named Lily, a child who was suffering in silence, a child who needed someone to see her, to believe her, to fight for her when no one else would. Hope looked at Lily sitting in the front row between Julian and Mrs. Margaret. I didn't save Lily. We saved each other. She reminded me that love doesn't end when someone dies. It doesn't disappear when life gets hard. It stays. It waits. It finds new ways to grow. Hope's voice grew stronger. This foundation exists because of that love, because of every person who refused to look away, because of every victim who found the courage to speak up, because of the simple radical belief that every child deserves to be safe, to be believed, to be loved. She looked out at the crowd one final time. My daughter Faith taught me that love is stronger than death. Lily taught me that love is stronger than fear, and today, together, we're proving that love is stronger than anything. The applause washed over her like a wave. Later that evening, after the guests had gone, and Lily was asleep in her new room at the Foundation's family quarters, Hope and Julian stood together on the balcony. You did something remarkable today, Julian said. We did something remarkable. This was never just about me. Maybe not, but it started with you. The moment you stepped between Victoria and Lily, you set everything in motion. Hope was quiet for a moment. I've been thinking about Victoria. Don't. I can't help it. She was a monster, but she was also a victim, a little girl who was destroyed by the people who were supposed to protect her. That doesn't excuse what she did. No, but it explains it. And maybe if someone had helped her when she was young, when she was still savable. Hope trailed off. That's why this foundation matters. That's why we have to catch these children early, before the damage becomes permanent. Julian pulled her close. You're going to save a lot of lives, Hope Carter. We're going to save a lot of lives. He smiled. I love you. You know that, right? Hope looked up at him. This man who had started as her enemy and become her partner, her ally, her love. I know. I love you too. Then marry me. Hope's breath caught. What? Julian reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was a simple diamond ring, elegant and understated. I know it's fast. I know we've only really known each other for a year, but I also know that I want to spend the rest of my life with you, building this foundation, raising Lily, creating a family that's built on truth instead of lies. Hope stared at the ring. Her heart was pounding. Julian, You don't have to answer right now. Take all the time you need. I just wanted you to know that I'm in this, all the way, for as long as you'll have me." Hope thought about Faith, about the daughter she had lost and the daughter she had found, about the journey that had brought her from that hospital room 3 years ago to this balcony tonight. She thought about second chances, about redemption, about the stubborn, persistent power of love. "Yes," she said. Julian's face lit up. "Yes, yes, I'll marry you." He slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her, deep and true and full of promise. From the doorway behind them, a small voice spoke up. "Does this mean Hope is my mommy now?" They turned to see Lily standing there in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes sleepily. Hope knelt down and opened her arms. Lily ran into them. "If you want me to be," Hope said softly. Lily looked up at her with those big brown eyes. "I want you to be. I always wanted you to be." Hope held her tight. Julian wrapped his arms around both of them, and there, in that moment, surrounded by the people she loved, Hope finally understood. She hadn't just survived her grief. She hadn't just escaped Victoria's cruelty. She had built something new, something beautiful, something that would outlast them all, a family, a foundation, a future. 3 years later, the Hope Foundation had helped over 2,000 children. It had chapters in 12 cities. It had trained thousands of teachers, doctors, and social workers to recognize the signs of abuse. It had changed laws and changed lives. Hope stood at the annual gala surrounded by supporters and survivors, her hand resting on her pregnant belly. Julian stood beside her, his arm around her waist. And Lily, now 8 years old, stood proudly between them, wearing a dress she had picked out herself. "Mommy," Lily said, "when the baby comes, can I teach her how to draw?" "Of course, sweetheart. You're going to be the best big sister in the world." "I know," Lily said confidently, "because I learned from the best mom." Hope felt tears prick her eyes. She looked at Julian, at Lily, at the hundreds of people who had gathered to celebrate everything they had built together. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, the pain, the loss, the fear, the moments when she had wanted to give up but somehow kept going, and she understood finally what it all meant. Storms don't destroy what's real, they reveal it. Victoria Stone had been a storm, a terrible, devastating storm that had threatened to destroy everything Hope loved. But in the end, the storm had only revealed the truth about Julian's blindness, about Victoria's brokenness, about Hope's strength. And from that truth, they had built something unbreakable, a family forged in fire, a foundation built on love, a future that no darkness could touch. Hope looked out at the crowd and spoke the words that had become her mantra, her prayer, her promise. Every child deserves to be seen. Every child deserves to be believed. Every child deserves to be loved. And as long as this foundation stands, as long as we stand, no child will ever face the darkness alone. The applause rose around her like thunder, and Hope Carter, once a maid, once a nobody, once a woman with nothing but a broken heart and a cheap uniform, stood tall in the light. Because true strength isn't found in power or wealth or status. It's found in the courage to love when love seems impossible, in the faith to fight when fighting seems hopeless, and in the stubborn, unshakable belief that kindness once given is never wasted. It always comes back. It always finds its way home.